the specialists that look at the ultrasounds. The whole date thing is sort of freaking me out. Side profile of him, how nerve-wracking this appointment is. Is that my mucus plug? Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. So I am doing my very late pregnancy update. I know on my last one it was my first trimester one and I said I was going to try to do them every month, but technically I'm only a month behind. This one's going to be for months 4 and 5, so that was like 1 through 3 that I did for that first trimester. I'm almost at the 3rd trimester. I got about a month before we hit that. Let's go ahead and get this done. Plus I just had an appointment yesterday, so some things are fresh, so I had to pull out and write down some notes because of course I am covering weeks 13 through 23, almost 24. So of course that's a broad time. That's 10 weeks of things that have happened, and a lot has happened in that time. We found out a lot of things. We've had different appointments within those 10 weeks. So I felt like it was time for me to update y'all. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to try to keep everything in order as far as like, you know, timeline goes. So from the oldest stuff to the newest. So let's go ahead and try to keep all this. If you have any questions about anything baby pregnancy related, you can go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. Also, I'm going to go ahead and announce it here. We are going to be doing a virtual baby shower. I'm going to put the date that it's going to go live at here on the screen, and I'll also have it down below in the comments and probably in the description box in case somebody misses it, because I've been getting a few questions about when that's going to be and all of that. If you want to be a part of that like you are with Mila, we would really appreciate it. Also, if you don't feel like you have to give us anything, you definitely do not. This child is already super blessed, and one of the good things about having them close together is we still had quite a bit of stuff, but of course since it's a different gender, we're changing some things out and just switching some things, and some new things have come out since then and all the good stuff. So I will have my registry down below in the description box, and also like I said, the dates and everything for all that stuff. The first big thing that has changed since my last pregnancy update would definitely have to be the gender. So we know what the gender is. We went and done a gender scan at 15 weeks. I want to say his heart rate was like in the 150s or something like that. I think Mila's was in the 160s, 160s. So we were already thinking, like, I don't think it's been very clear. I haven't told y'all unless you watched the gender reveal video, which if you haven't, you should. I think it turned out really cute. We've had an inkling since the beginning that it was a boy, and I know that they say don't go off the heart rate, but Mila's was like in the 170s at first and his was in the 150s, and I was like, immediately that just like I had that in my head. I was like, well, that just, you know, confirms even more what I was already thinking. Yes, we know that it's a boy. We had all those things, like of course we went to Disney, celebrated it there and did all that good stuff, took some really cute pictures, and then my next appointment, you might see me looking over, I'm looking at my notes. I haven't shown y'all any ultrasound pictures because I haven't done any pregnancy updates to show you, but I can show you what I have. So this is from that appointment. He has not wanted to participate, and he's wanted to be stubborn. Every single ultrasound and any Doppler scan things we've done, he moves, y'all. He is all over the place, and I felt him pretty good. I want to say it was around 15 weeks. I felt a pretty good thud, and I knew that it was him, which was early. And then I think closer to 18 weeks is when I started really noticing. I was like, this is definitely him. Of course it was still too early to feel it from the outside, but I was feeling him on the inside. So here's about the clearest you're going to be able to see him from that gender scan, and that's his back, his head. The entire gender scan, he would not turn to where we could see his face ever. He never did cooperate for those. And then we're going to move on into, like I said, around 19 weeks. Around 18 weeks I started feeling him pretty good, and then we went in at about another 2 weeks later. We went in for our anatomy scan. I know parents in general can relate to how nerve-wracking this appointment is. We've always, with our pregnancies, opted out of any like blood work and stuff done in the beginning because we were told that it can throw up some false positives in the beginning, and then you pretty much have to wait until that anatomy scan to see if there's anything that come out of those. And I know how I am, and it would literally drive me insane if we had a false positive that, of course, we didn't know that was a false positive at the time, but it would just be a positive to us, and then we would have to wait until that 20-week anatomy scan to see if anything was actually wrong. So I've always, like I said, we've always agreed to just veto it out and not worry with it. We did the anatomy scan, which is an hour. Ours was a little over an hour long because y'all, like I said, he has not cooperated at all. Mila was so much better as far as getting like ultrasounds and stuff done. When it did come to our 3D, 4D scan that we did, she was of course running out of room in there and she was just a little frustrated. We did finally get to see her face, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that with him, the 3D, 4D thing, because he's just not cooperating, y'all. That was their complaint, and that ended up making them think that they saw something that was there, but it wasn't, because he was moving so much and his positioning. So when he did get positioned, it was always in like a really hard position to try to find. He loves cramming himself on my right side. I can literally, like when I'm walking around, I can feel a ball form over there. He really favors that side a whole lot, and he was difficult. He was difficult. They even wrote that on the notes from the ultrasound. But thankfully we were able to get a little side profile of him, so he stayed still long enough for us to be able to get the pictures and the measurements that they needed. We've got, of course, got a bunch of different pictures of his hands, his feet, all those things. He was measuring a little over 5 days ahead, which I'm going to explain the whole date situation. But before we get into that, I will talk a little bit more in depth about what was so freaky about the anatomy scan this time around. So with Mila, of course, she cooperated and they were able to measure everything, but because he was so active and getting in these like strange positions to try to measure anything, the tech thought she'd seen something, or like fat, like a fatty tissue or something on the back of his neck because of him moving when she was trying to get it, but it was only on this one scan. So she wanted to bring that to the attention of our doctor that day, because there's multiple different doctors that you'll see, because you never know who's going to be on call when you go into labor. So she wanted her to see it, like just to I guess to bring it up to her to make sure that we like everybody was aware of it and that it wasn't nothing to be concerned about. So that ended up sending it to, like, I guess the specialists that look at the ultrasounds to see if we need to go and have a more in-depth with fancier equipment ultrasound done to see if it was anything. And she couldn't get them to do it immediately. She had to wait for them to call her back. So by the time we went over from the ultrasound office to the office to sit down with the doctor, she still hadn't heard from them. So we had to wait. That was the longest. That was probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours of us waiting to hear back from her. And it seemed like it was forever, because I kept thinking, because she was super positive and she was like, I really don't see, I mean, he's good. His arms were measuring like 22 weeks and I was 19 and some change. So she's like, I think he's gonna be tall. And I'm like, tall? Why do y'all keep telling us our children are gonna be tall? Because Mila's in the 90th percentile for height and weight and her head circumference. And then now they're telling us he's gonna be tall. And I'm like, how are me and Cody producing these tall children? I just don't understand. Which I will say, I do see a lot of times like short or average height parents and their kids are taller than them. That might be us, y'all. Y'all are going to see us walk through Walmart with these little baby giants. Finally coming back, she was like, how are you? And I'm like, I just seen you 2 hours ago, and you know what, you know I'm probably not well because I'm sitting here waiting on you to call me. But she was like, everything is fine and we're going to keep the date as it is, because I am concerned that because I had them change the date in the first place. So I don't remember if I said this in the last video, but my initial due date was October 31st and they changed it to November 6th. Because my math and with my cycle dates and how everything falls, for me, I got November 6th. And because of that and because of my longer cycle, she felt confident with changing it to November 6th, because he was within that window of his scan. So his initial scan that we did at 7 or 8 weeks, she felt confident that it fell between, it could be October 31st or November 6th. That because of my cycle and everything, she went with November 6th. I should have just kept my mouth shut, because now he's measuring like almost a week ahead, which would be October 31st. And where my concern is that Mila came a week early on her own. She was not measuring ahead. She was always measuring on time. And that wouldn't, I guess it wouldn't really bother me so much if we had family that lived near us and the hospital was near us and we didn't have a child already. So that's what concerns me, because I'm pretty sure we need to schedule an induction this time. We did with Mila, but she came before the induction date, which ended up being fine, which ended up working out perfectly. God had us, and I'm not saying he's not going to not have us this time, but I guess just the planner in me, I'm like, if he comes at 39 weeks, on top of him already measuring a week early. So if, let's say he actually was supposed to be due October 31st, and he comes 39 weeks, that would be October 24th. So if my technical due date is November 6th and they go to induce me 39 weeks, that would be what? That would be whatever a week is before November 6th. I don't know, my math is maybe what, October 30th or something like that? I think so, right? October 30th. I won't make it to that point. Like, I don't, maybe I will, I don't know, but I'm like, if we had just kept it at October 31st and then I was able to get induced at 39 weeks, that would have been 24. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't want to push that induction. I would love to be able to do it again on my own, but my fear is that it's going to happen and we won't have somebody here for Mila, and we'll have to wait on them to get here, and that's over an hour, and then it's over an hour to get to the hospital from there, so that's almost 3 hours at this point. I'm scared that it's going to happen, because I mean, this is my second one, so I'm scared it's going to happen before I can get there. And if I test positive again for the strep B thing that they have to do, I have to get to the hospital to get those what is it, the IV. I have to get the meds to protect the baby from getting that when he comes out. Like I said, I don't know until they do that test whether I'll test positive, and you don't test positive every pregnancy, so I don't know. But all these factors are just like running around in my head, and I'm just like, those 3 hours those 3 hours of waiting to get to the hospital is what is, or it could even be longer. What if mama or whoever we end up having to get is even further away when it happens, and we'll have to wait for them to come? All of these factors just keep playing in my head, and I'm just like, wow, you never think about that, because of course when we didn't have Mila, it was just whenever it popped off, we would just leave. We didn't have to wait. We could leave the dogs, and of course mama would come when she came. The dogs are used to being here, but you can't leave a child. So all of these things are playing in my head. So that's why the whole date thing is sort of freaking me out. I don't need anybody telling me no, don't get in. I don't need any information about being induced or anything like that. We're going to do what's going to work best for us and figure all that out when the time comes. But I just wanted to share my concerns and just the whole situation with the date. New things that have popped up is round ligament pain. I did not know that's what it was. When I would roll over in the bed, I would get like an all of a sudden like sort of spasm is what I read that it was like referred to as on my right side, like the groin area, I guess, like lower belly. And I would be like, what the heck? And it's round ligament pain. And I knew it because when we went to Walmart the other day, we were walking, y'all, it hit me. And I thought, I do not remember this with Mila. And if it did happen, I must have like cleared it out of my mind or something. But honey, I said, we're gonna have to stop. Cody was like, okay. He said, you need to lean on the buggy, and I'm like, yes. I don't know what the heck, y'all. I had to sit down on the little, you know, the thing that they put the grocery bags on and it spins. I had to sit down on that. It was on thing to sit on at the time. I'm like, OMG, what is going on? And when I looked into it, it was round ligament pain. That's fun. No, it's not fun. It's very uncomfortable. It just happens whenever. And if you sneeze, it can happen. You cough, like any like sudden movements and stuff is mostly where it comes from. So I don't know if I turned wrong or moved in a way that caused it, but I know I definitely have had it. Like if I roll over in the bed a certain kind of way, like abruptly or something, I definitely have been I've been experiencing that for some time now during this pregnancy. I also have horrible indigestion or heartburn or whatever it's called. It had slacked off some, but now I've noticed that every single time I go to lay down in bed, I don't care if I lay on the couch, it doesn't happen on the couch, but there's something about when I go to lay in the bed, it just feels, I don't know how to explain it. It's all right here. So I have to lay on my right side. So I lay on my right side, let it sort of like simmer. I know this sounds strange. I lay there for like 30-40 minutes, and then when I go to sit up, I can like burp or just sort of like work on my chest. Like literally it's like belching up, I don't know, whatever. So I'm literally like burping, and then finally it's all gone. But I have to lay on my right side until it does whatever it needs to do, and then I can either sit up or lay on my left. Left side also helps like release it too, but there's something about laying on the right side, it just sort of collects it all. I don't know, but I have to do this every single night that I lay down before I'm able to go to sleep. And I typically lay on my left side to sleep because there's some study or something that says to lay on your left side more because of blood circulation or something. So I try to sleep on my left as much as possible. Do have the occasional nausea. And I had it this long with Mila too, so I don't know if his is just going to stay. I mean, like, I didn't take any medication this time for it because I didn't think it was as bad as it was with her. And I think I've had some like running to the bathroom spells of having to throw up until probably like 21 weeks or something. I don't remember the exact date, but it would be random. So that's pretty much all leading up to my appointment that I had yesterday. So I had my 24-week appointment yesterday, but I'm only 23 weeks, but it's leading up to 24. So she went ahead, and because Cody was off, we scheduled it for that time so that he can be with Mila. So it was just a routine prenatal appointment. You know, you go in, you pee in a cup, you go to the room, you sit down, you wait for them. The appointment was only supposed to be like 10-15 minutes, and I waited for like 30. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is literally all she's gonna do is put the Doppler to hear him and measure my belly, and I'm out. I don't know why this is taking so long for her to come on in here, because there was nobody in the office. I don't know. But we did listen to him. He was literally running away from her every time she tried to find him. And then she also measured the fungal height, which is where they take that tape measure and they measured like the height of your belly when you lay down. And she said he was measuring right on point to where she would like him. She said, but of course you can kind of go, depending on who's measuring you, could always change. But he pretty much fell where she wanted him to. I also went ahead and scheduled my glucose test, so that would be for my next appointment. So that is like, what, 27 weeks or something. I think they do it around 26 to 28, somewhere within that span of time. So I'll be doing that. I was good the last time. We're hoping we're good this time too. So I just don't even want to have to like think about having to do all of that stuff and checking my not blood pressure, what is it, sugars, blood sugar, yeah, your blood sugars. Checking all that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have enough going on as it is. I don't want to add anything else. We got home from that appointment. It was all good. We went shopping, bought the babies and stuff. I did not drink a whole lot of water. It's really hard because, you know, we were busy, we're on the road. I always bring my water cup or something with me, but still I took a few sips from it here and there, but never like really was able to like actually drink it. Well, then we got home and I went to pee, and when I wipe, other pregnant women or even just women in general can relate to this. When you wipe, you always look at that napkin. You know what I'm saying? You always look at it to see what's on it, whether, you know, anything's on it or not. And I looked and I'm like, is that my mucus plug? Y'all, I seen part of my mucus plug when I was pregnant with Mills, and I don't remember. I think I was 32 weeks when I seen it. If you want to go make sure, you can always go back and watch those pregnancy updates, because I know it was in the title, mucus plug. We still don't know what it was. There was no blood. There was no spotting. I'm not leaking any like fluids or amniotic fluid. My heart sunk a little bit when I seen it because I was a little confused. Because I'm like, is this part of my cervix or what is happening? Am I going into preterm labor? Like, I have been thinking this whole time that he's coming earlier. And I'm like trying to prepare my heart and my mind for that. But that was early. I told y'all I'm almost 24 weeks. So that's early. So I'm just trying to prepare. And that was hard for me to like wrap my head around. So I'm trying to get work done and I'm not able to focus because I was thinking about that, waiting to hear back from the nurse to see if they can tell me something. Finally got a nurse on the phone, and she ran through some questions with me, did different things, and she went to talk to the on-call doctor that was there to deliver babies. And it just happened to be one of my favorite doctors that I've seen. She actually used to work and teach at our high school. So I was it put my heart, everything at ease when she's the one that was there to be able to get the question answered. And she was like, it's not from baby, so there's no, you know, no concerns. There's no bleeding. There's no cramping. I'm also not hurting or anything. It was just literally like, what is this? It was not my mucus plug. It looked like tissue, like bodily tissue, like, you know, tissue, not like paper tissue. And I didn't know. So that's why we were like, she was still, the nurse was stumped. She had no idea. And then the doctor technically still really didn't know, but because of other things, and there's no other signs of anything else, she felt confident when telling me not to go anywhere, that I was fine, just to keep looking and make sure that I seen nothing else. So I haven't seen anything else. I haven't hurt at all. Like I said, no bleeding, no cramping, nothing. We're saying that it is fine and it is nothing to worry about. But I guess I'm just preparing. I'm just getting prepared. Just getting prepared in my head for what's to come. I had a feeling Mila was coming early. I just didn't know when exactly. And I just, once again, I have a feeling. So he could surprise us all and not. He could just get comfortable in there. But the way he's moving, I just don't foresee that. I feel like he's going to be like, let me out of here. So we shall see. We shall see. But thank y'all for following along with this pregnancy. If you've been here through all the pregnancies, we appreciate you. Like I said, don't forget to look down below to figure out all the stuff about the virtual baby shower that we're going to be having for him. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can also ask those down below in the comments. But I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.